Welcome to Before Floor, the pregame edition of 5 on the Floor, brought to you by the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I'm your host, Jonathan, a.k.a. Three-Piece Combo. I'm joined by the main man from the arena, from hopefully what's the last game of the season, Mr. Ethan J. Skolnick. As always, guys, if you're checking us out, make sure you guys like the video, make sure you guys subscribe, and make sure you guys follow us on Twitter and on Instagram as well to make sure you guys keep up with all the updates, all the posts, and make sure you guys check out Playback as well. So we'll talk a little bit about more of that just now. But before we get into that, we want to talk about one of our primary sponsors, which is prizepicks.com. You want to maximize your money with Prize Picks. You're going to go to prizepicks.com, use that promo code 5. What we'll do is we'll match your initial deposit up to $100. So that's literally a free $100 that you're going to get in your account that you can play with. That's 20 free plays. That's literally a quarter of a season worth of free plays that you can use on Prize Picks. Like I said, use that promo code 5. It's the best spot for daily fantasy, and you don't got to worry about your players getting hurt. Now, we got, of course, we got Mark Brown, and we have Playback. So, Ethan, tell us a little about those things we got.
Yeah, we want to thank Mark Brown for sponsoring the pregame show here all season over at Before Floor. We talk a lot about getting an estate plan from him, but also if you need a real estate attorney, Mark is the guy to go to. Huge Miami Heat fan as well. I run into him in Section 106 here all the time. Just a good dude, and he will help you get your deal done, whether it's your closing, you got a bankruptcy issue related to real estate. We know it's a complicated real estate market right now. Your real estate market might have got even more complicated by some of the flooding here in Broward County. Check it out, markbrownpa.com. Again, that's MARC. brownpa.com. Reach out to him. He's based in North Lauderdale. Mention 5 Reasons. He'll take extra special good care of you. 954-566-5678. And the best recommendation I could give you is that I've used him for a variety of different things, whether in real estate or in estate plan. And again, we do want to mention also, before we get going on the show here, that we're going to be doing Playback tonight starting at 7 o'clock. If you haven't done that yet, that's where the stream comes up. You can watch the same stream that you can on television, but we've got hosts on there. You can basically mute the regular telecast and listen to us. You can mute us, listen to them, and you can chat. I'll be on there from the arena, as will Brady and Alex, and we'll have the usual crew of Greg and Gabe and Ben and some of the others, Sean, Brian, who've been on there the past couple of months. So check it out. You can find it at playback.tv/5 on the floor. That's playback.tv/5 on the floor. And we'll put that here in the description as well, so you can find it and just directly click on it. Jonathan, I know we got a lot to get to tonight. We're going to do it as quickly as possible. I just came out of Eric Spoelstra's presser, and first I want to thank you for hosting the entire season. I don't know if this is the last game. We will see, but you did yeoman's work here. You put in better work than the Heat did. I'll just say I just came out of Spoelstra's presser. Really no indication on who's going to start tonight, although I would anticipate that he's going to put at least Caleb Martin in the starting lineup tonight. I think to be able to guard DeRozan, who is averaging 28.5 points on 65% shooting in 3 games against Miami this year, that you've got to put Caleb Martin back in the starting lineup. You can't play Strus tonight in that situation. You can play him, but you can't start him. And I also think you may see Kyle Lowry start tonight and just go back to the original starting lineup. We have come full circle in Game 84 to the starting lineup that started the season in Game 1, Jonathan, against the Bulls, which, of course, the Heat lost that game, but I still think they're going to go back that direction. And I don't think you're going to see him play 10 guys tonight. I think it's going to be like 7, 7.5, maybe 8 that he actually plays. So I would anticipate we see Caleb and Lowry start. We'll see. But the other thing I want to say before I jump in here with you is I don't know if anybody's showing up tonight. And I don't just mean the Heat. Like, I know it was early and I beat rush hour. I've never had an easier ride from downtown Fort Lauderdale, and that was with flooding, down to Miami. I've never seen the Bayside Garage so empty. I've never heard so many people tell me they couldn't give away their tickets. I've never seen an elimination game where you go onto StubHub and you can get tickets upstairs for $25 and center lower level for 15th row for $150. Those are prices for a Tuesday night game against Detroit in January. It feels like the fan base has checked out. And I just wonder if by the time they get here, some of them get here for Friday, 7 o'clock start, which we know Miami, it's not going to be easy to get them here. They got to get dressed for 6 hours. That makes them late. If the Heat are down 19-8 by the time people walk into this building, I don't know what the energy is going to be like here tonight. So they better get off to a good start tonight if they care about winning this game.
Yeah, like you said, the energy really is going to dictate how this game goes. And I think that's just the theme of the entire season, right? When this team has been giving us the extra energy, the extra effort, that's when they're winning games. And that's something they haven't really done all season, or something they haven't been able to kind of string together. Like you said, longest win streak all season was no bigger than 4. That's not Miami Heat basketball that we've seen from previous seasons. We've seen this team put it together and really carry out some win streaks. But this year, we weren't able to see them put it together consistently. And like you said, it was the energy, not from just one player, but it was from the energy from all the guys. We didn't see those extra effort plays. We didn't see the Gabe Vincent of old, or maybe the gritty Max Strus of old, right? There are some things that didn't have the same, impact going from last season to this season. And, losing PJ Tucker, wanting the internal development to kind of carry us over. It was a hard position to put us in the first place. And unfortunately, it just didn't really work out for this year. But going into tonight's game, like you said, if we go down early and the arena is already going to be pretty empty, I could see a lot of the Heat players checking out as well.
Yeah, and look, Jimmy Butler was not at practice yesterday, was not at shoot-around this morning. He is expected to play tonight. He's got a personal issue. I'm not saying he won't come to play. I expect him to come to play, particularly after he did not perform particularly well in the last game. I expect Bam to be better. We did a whole podcast on this. Like, for instance, on Prize Picks, one of the props I like is Bam over 1.5 dunks. They raised it from 1 to 1.5. I feel like the Heat are going to try to feed him early, get him some easy baskets, make things comfortable on him. Chicago, though, since the All-Star break, has been the best defensive team in the league by defensive rating. They've actually been top 5 in net rating. They've been one of the better teams in the league over the past 5-6 weeks because they found a rotation, a starting lineup that works without Lonzo Ball, who didn't end up playing at all this year. Bringing in Pat Beverly has stabilized them, which sounds weird to say for a guy who's bounced around and can be volatile, but it stabilized them. It gave them a defensive identity with Alex Caruso on the perimeter. And look, we talk about the Heat playing small, Jonathan. They're playing DeMar DeRozan at the 4. I mean, they're not a big team. They're playing DeRozan and Levine at the 3 and the 4. Another reason why I do think you're going to see Caleb Martin start at the 4 tonight, probably line up against Levine, whereas Jimmy lines up against DeRozan. But, I mean, when you look at the Prize Picks tonight, they kind of tell the story. Like, I don't know. And again, use that code 5, F-I-V-E. If you go to prizepicks.com, get that initial deposit match up $100. Like, Bam at like 18.5 points, I don't know. Okay, Bam at 4 field goals made, I don't know. But I'll tell you, he better get more than 4 free throws made, 4 free throws made, because he needs to be aggressive tonight. And I look at some of the other props. Hero with 3 assists. I expect him to go over that one. That's one of the ones I like tonight because I do think the ball's going to be in his hands a lot. I expect Bam, Jimmy, and Hero, provided they stay out of foul trouble, to play elevated minutes tonight. So I do think you can be fairly comfortable playing most of them over in Prize Picks. Whether or not that's enough to win this game is another story. And on the Chicago side, DeRozan at 22 or 22.5 points, play it over. The Heat have had no answers for him this year, 65% from the field in 3 games. So the other one I like there is Kobe White, over 9.5 points or over 1.5 threes. He's averaged 14 against the Heat this season. So I think we're going to talk about the game in total context here before we close. But what do you like on the Prize Pick side?
Yeah, also, I'm looking for Jimmy Butler. I think, like you said, it's pretty tough, especially with a game like this, when, the energy might be there, right? In an elimination game, when it comes down to it, if this game is close going down into the fourth quarter, it's going to be Jimmy time, and he's going to go to the line. So I think with the 8 free throws made, that's something that we can go over as well. I always like going over on that, and I do think he'll get a dunk. I think actually it's just at a dunk, so I'll keep that off the board. But I think with his ability to get some steals and get into the transition, we can see that as well. So I would definitely go over on the free throws made at 8.
Yeah, and he better. He needs to be aggressive from the very start of this game. I would go over on the dunk prop there. Again, if you want to play flex play today too, as long as you play 3 or more players together, put down $20, and you lose, you get your $20 back by noon tomorrow. So that's an easy play to play tonight. I think looking at this game, and we've talked to this thing to death on 5 on the floor, and I did on starting 9 today, whether or not you want to win this game or not, okay? We will know in the first 5 minutes. We will know in the first 5 minutes if they care. Now, the Heat as an organization are not going to shut it down. It's not what they do, okay? And they're not going to shut it down over 6 draft spots. They're not, okay? I understand you get the 20th if you win, and you get the 14th if you lose. The Heat organization is not going to – it's not worth it to them to do that. Yes. Would you rather pick higher? Sure. Did you get Bam at 14? Yes. Did you get Hero at 13? Yes. I understand the idea of being in the back end of the lottery. You're probably not going to move up in the lottery. You're not getting Wemby with a 0.5% chance, okay? But here's the thing. As far as a trade asset, people like it's more of a trade asset. I mean, I don't know. Is a pick that's 6 spots higher going to be a much higher trade asset when you're talking about teams like Oklahoma City, Utah, New Orleans, who've got about 300 first-round picks to deal over the next 3? I mean, the Heat can't compete with those teams in terms of having enough first-round picks. So I don't think that matters. To me, what matters is, does this Heat team, do the players want to continue? They don't care about the draft pick. They don't care about anything, obviously, except perhaps, hopefully, team success, but also some of them care about contracts. Some of them care about pride. Do they care enough? Okay, do they care enough that they feel like getting on a plane to Milwaukee on Saturday for a 5:30 tip on Sunday against a team that is likely going to sweep them or beat them in 5 games, because they are not equipped like they were 3 years ago to play that Milwaukee team. And that Milwaukee team is better than they were then. And Giannis is a champion now. And Drew Holiday is playing at the highest level of his career. And their bench is better than it was before. We will know whether or not the players really want to deal with this for another week or two. And unfortunately, and I've said this about very few Heat teams that I've covered over the past 27 years, I don't think they do. I just don't get the sense, Jonathan, that they have the fight in them like previous teams do. We will see tonight. That's what I want to see. Play with pride. If they lose, they lose. They can end everybody's misery if they lose. It's not about, but can they play with pride? Okay. I think they lose tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And honestly, I slightly disagree a little bit, because 20 versus 17 is Precious Achiuwa versus Bam Adebayo almost, right? That's not, obviously, Precious was what, 22nd, I think, or 23rd. But, with the amount of talent that's coming through the draft nowadays, even if you don't move that pick, that's a pick that can, be something for the Bam and Tyler timeline moving forward, right? If Jovic is something that can still work out, you add another piece, and then maybe that's a future trade asset 3-4 years down the line as well. So I do, think Miami loses as well. I don't know if mentally they're going to be into this game. Like you said, not as equipped to take on Milwaukee as we were a couple of years ago. And on top of that, like you said, as far as Giannis is a better player than he was a couple of years ago. He has a lot more counters. I think Chicago gets it done tonight. Obviously, Patrick Beverley is undefeated in the play-in, so that's also another part of this as well. But I don't see maybe the other guys for the Miami Heat showing up, which is what's the theme of the all season, right? We have 3 20-point per game scorers, but it's been everybody else that hasn't showed up. I think that's what happens tonight. I do think we get a good offensive game from Tyler and from Jimmy. I'm not sure what we'll see offensively from Bam, just because of the positions he'll be put in. But I do think it'll be a decently close game until it's not. I think one of the quarters will go bad, and then we won't really come back from there.
And we'll see if they have any fight. To me, that's the single biggest thing tonight, and we're going to follow it on playback. I do think they lose tonight, and if they lose tonight, then the season is a complete replica of 2006-2007. We've been trying to compare it to a season. The only difference is they didn't win the championship the year before. So I do not know why they came back as entitled this year as they did that time, because that time they had their rings. Okay, so I got it. And everything fell apart that year. And if you remember, they started that season with a home loss to Chicago. The night that they got their rings, they got blown out by Chicago. Okay, they didn't get blown out this year, but they lost to Chicago in the opener. And their season ended with a sweep by Chicago, which finished on the floor here, with Pat Riley clapping him off the floor.
It's and the meme of Alonzo Mourning. Don't forget the Alonzo Mourning meme.
Well, maybe. They ran it back, okay? They ran it back just like they did that time. They started with a loss to Chicago. They ended with a loss to Chicago. We will see if history repeats itself tonight, and we'll see if we're talking about the offseason instead of a game in Milwaukee. Look, I want to cover more basketball. I don't mind it, okay? Certainly, okay, even if it looks like it's doomed. We'll see if they want to play more basketball. We're going to see that tonight. But, Jonathan, either way, I want to thank you for all your work on here this year, and also to the rest of the team, Timothy, Mateo, Marco, Gad, everybody who popped in here. We will see if we've got another one on Sunday. Join us tonight. Play Prize Picks. Use that code 5. Join us tonight at Playback. Go to playback.tv/5 on the floor. We'll put that in the description here, too, as well, so you can click and join us there and either lament a win or lament a loss. I feel like Heat fans are going to be upset either way. Thank you, John.
You guys, make sure you guys like the video, and hope you guys have a good day. And let's go Heat.
Or not.